Enviroshake can be efficiently installed in much less time than traditional cedar. It creates less waste, does not require any pre-treatment, and once installed, it is maintenance-free.
The whole process actually starts with the drip edge starting of the underlayment process. We lay the drip edge along the eaves and then cover up that with the underlayment. And then we run our drip edge up the rakes of the house. And then our underlayment process is complete and we're ready to start with our starter shingles. The different kinds of nails that we would be using in these, if there was any copper drip edge, we would be using a stainless or a copper coiled nail or hand nail. And for the remainder of it is just used by a steel coil nail. Once we start the starter row process, we start that at the corner of the rake and the eave, and we run that starter flush on the bottom and flush along the gable with our drip edge. And then we have an overhang of a ½ inch with the next row of shake, and that will be over the gable and onto the front of the eave as well, of a ½ inch reveal. Now, in between each of those starters, we want a 3/8 gap, the same as we would on a typical shake. That is to allow for expansion, and as long as there's no nail heads below the 6 inches above your eave line, it will continue to be a nice clean process. And that's where we continue by adding our chalk line. The first chalk line is at 19¼ inches off of the drip edge, and that will allow for a ½ inch reveal on the eave as well. When laying shake and continuing with your 3/8 reveal, sometimes you run into, with the patterns that we have on the shake, you run into what we call a key on key, and that is the 3/8 crease that is on the pressed shake lining up with the key line below on the underside shake. And for aesthetics, we like to keep that at least an 1.5 inches away from the key on the lower shake itself. So if you can keep in mind 1.5 inches from Keyways, and that'll give you your proper stagger and keep you away from nails as well.
Where an ice or water membrane underlayment or sealed membrane is used, interweaving is not required, which may result in cost savings. As an alternative to felt, an approved plasticized type underlayment may be used where building codes permit. Check your local building code for requirements in your region.
When cutting for valleys, we run our regular shake up into the valleys. The valleys are usually a 24-inch W'd valley. We typically like to use a copper because of the durability of it. Now when we run our shake into that, we like to keep our exposure at about 3 inches and nailing only from 2 inches from the outside wall of the valley itself. That is just to keep penetration of any nails of any form out of the valley, just for proper being watertight. Once you have your 24-inch copper valley installed, we outline the edges of it and cover up the nails that we keep the valley in with grace to eliminate penetration of water, and then we can start running the shake into the valley. I would split a shake when running into a smaller section. When 2 sections of the roof are joining together, and a regular size shake would not be adequate for the whole. So instead of cutting the shake, we snap it using a proper size so that we have proper coverage on our nail holes.
Based on an 85 square foot roof, initial installation costs of Enviroshake is less than cedar. At the 5, 10, and 15-year marks, there is no topical maintenance needed like there is with cedar. After 20 years, Enviroshake still does not require topical maintenance. 25 years in, no re-roof is required. With a 50-year lifetime warranty that is fully transferable, using Enviroshake can provide a cost savings of over $140,000, assuming a 30% increase in costs.
I would say that Enviroshake probably would be somewhere in the ballpark of 30% less to install than what an actual cedar roof would be too. We get set up with the different bundles scattered on the roof. I can have one guy basically feeding 5 or 6 people. When the guys start laying it down, 2 guys are running guns, 2 guys are laying it out, and 1 guy's cleaning up the mess. A lot less waste, a lot less shuffling, air nailers, just general overall ease of installation. Enviroshake is a product that I will continue to use. It's a self-sellable product. Very comfortable with it.
Enviroshake has less mess compared to Cedar Shake. It's easier to install. The maintenance is minimal compared to Cedar Shake, where you have to wash the shake every few years. Over time, that the Enviroshake is going to be far superior and last a lot longer, and therefore be a lot less in year-to-year pricing, because it's going to not have to be replaced as many times as Cedar Shake. I would say that Enviroshake's far superior to Cedar Shake and any other product we've used on the market.
Now that you know how to install the shakes, here's what to expect when you place an order. One skid contains 70 bundles, and one bundle contains a variety of profiles that are factory shuffled. An Enviroshake lawn sign is also included with your order. Culling of bundles is eliminated with Enviroshake. Once the installer has determined his course pattern, he can use shakes directly from the bundle. This provides a cost savings of about 20% compared to cedar. 10 bundles provide enough coverage for 1 square, 100 square feet at 9-inch exposure and 3/8-inch gapping. 7-inch exposure is recommended for coastal or high wind areas. Ridge caps, a standalone product, are pre-formed at factory according to slope. The slope is marked on the cap. Use 1 slope less for ridge vent applications. The HIP conversion chart is available in the installation manual. This information was intended as a guide to the installation of Enviroshake. Where applicable, local building code requirements will always take precedence and must be adhered to.